I've been wanting to talk about style icons today, and of course my decades of choice are the 60s and the 70s. These are the decades that resonate the most with me for whatever reason, but I wanted to talk about 60s and 70s style inspo icons who are not from the 60s or 70s at all. This is a list of people who reimagine this time of reimagination, and I love them for that. Number 1 on this list, I couldn't make this list without talking about her, is Lady Miss Kier of Delight. Terrific singer, terrific musician, gorgeous fashion icon. The 90s does 60s movement would be nothing without her. Now, Lady Miss Kier was born in 1963, and she did something that I think people my age or younger are trying to do to Y2K fashion, is take the fashion that was hot and popular when you were a little kid and reinvent and reimagine it into something beyond what it was. And Lady Miss Kier did that extremely successfully. I mean, look, and look. Are we doing that great? I don't think so. I think we could step our game up when it comes to the Y2K revival. Look to Lady Miss Kier. Look to how she took her groovy childhood fashion icons and just elevated it to this insane club kid 90s level. We could all learn a few things from Lady Miss Kier. That's all I'm saying. Next on my list is Matt Berry. Yes, that Matt Berry. Of course, we know him and love him as Laszlo Cravensworth on What We Do in the Shadows, but before he hit the ground running with his career in America, he had a really prolific musical career. He has an album called Witch Hazel that sounds like it was recorded in '73. He kind of has this 70s funkadelic persona that he adopts. That's kind of just who he is as a guy, and I love him for that. His music just takes really fantastic inspiration from late 60s, early 70s kind of vibes. And often in his creative projects, he kind of masquerades as a guy from this time period. I can't remember the name of the rock opera, but he did a rock opera in 2004. But he did the rock opera not as Matt Berry, but as a guy who wrote the rock opera in 1972 or something. It was a similar story with Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, where this whole artistic project kind of took place in the past. Matt Berry was born in 1974, and I think like Lady Miss Kier, he's kind of trying to take this world that he was born into and recreating it as an adult, and he's doing a damn good job. I applaud him for that. Love him. His music is fantastic. Highly recommend checking that out. Next, also a musical act that I think really builds nicely onto the 60s and 70s with modern influence would be the multilingual Berlin-based band Stereo Total. So many of their songs have that groovy kind of mod rhythm and blues quality, but of course they take it to a really cool electropop kind of level. Started out in the 90s. I think we're active up until 2021. Rest in peace, Francois Cactus. I really love their music. I think every one of their songs has this really magical union of 60s yeah with like 80s new wave. Their music is magic. Music videos are very inspirational to folks like me looking to kind of like reimagine the 1960s, and I just love them. I just love them. They're one of my favorite bands right now. To get into the yeah electropop spirit, listen to their song Relax Baby Be Cool. Also some neo bands would be the Limañanas and La Femme. These are French bands that kind of recreate that really nifty French beatnik sound of the 60s, but kind of in this really fun, new, imaginative way. Love them. They're fantastic. For the Limañanas, listen to AF3458. For La Femme, listen to Sakatela. Love, 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 love. Shilpa Ray is also on this list because I think her music has that kind of like exuberant Patti Smith, yelling into a microphone sort of energy that we saw in the 70s. I really like her devil may care approach to music, and she just kind of has that rocker chick look that I love so much. I think my favorite song by her is Add Value Add Time. Love that. For a musician who kind of draws inspiration from the early 60s, I would say Shannon Shaw from Shannon in the Clams is a really great example. She just really incorporates this really cool, dreamy, garage, psychedelic, doo-wop thing into her music as well as her outfits. She's just a really fun, gorgeous icon for a plus size girly like me. I love the Shannon and the Clams song Ozma. My cat Ozma is partially named after that song. Can't recommend highly enough. For a fashion icon who reimagines the 60s in the same kind of new school of acting as Matt Berry is Noel Fielding. Noel Fielding, of course, puts like a lot more of an eclectic spin on the 1960s. He really does incorporate this kind of everything but the kitchen sink approach to mod style in his looks. Of course, he draws on, you know, kind of like 80s new wave and post-punk kind of influences too. But when he does these sort of little cheeky nods to Mick Jagger, especially in the show The Mighty Boosh, I eat it up like breakfast. I love it. Noel Fielding and Matt Berry's side of Pinterest are very, very fun. Highly recommend. For a musician from today who sort of reimagines folk elements, I would say Joanna Newsom is a really great example of that. I mean, no one does it quite like Joanna. She's kind of like an animal all to herself. But there's definitely sort of like a Peggy Seeger, Judy Collins, Jessica Pratt, Connie Converse, Buffy St. Marie, Alice Coltrane thing going on with Joanna. And I think she would have fit right in like the folk scene in Greenwich Village in the 60s. It's no secret by now that I adore her and I want to have her babies. But that's neither here nor there. I love her. She's not on Spotify. You're gonna have to go to YouTube, or better yet, buy all of her CDs and all of her vinyl records and listen to them. And listen to them whenever you like. Love her. Two more honorable mentions, 60s reimaginers. I would say Enid Coleslaw from the film Ghost World 2001. Her looks kind of have that like cutesy mod rocker chick 60s doll kind of vibe to them. She's a huge style icon of mine personally. I don't know if you can tell by the everything about me. And shout out to Tavi Gevinson. If you were turned on to fashion by Rookie Mag like I was, you know that Tavi has some really fun 60s dolly mod influences in her fashion as well. Love that for her. And I am forever indebted to Rookie Mag for occasionally recommending me some really cool vintage media. Music, movies, shows, etc. I don't know what happened to it, but it really got me where I needed to go in high school when I didn't have a lot of directions. I didn't have a roadmap to the fashion I needed, and Rookie Mag did that for me, so forever grateful. Cheers. Well, I don't know about you, but I really love when things are 60s inspired and not 60s copy-paste cookie cutter. I often think it's more historically accurate to build on top of building blocks that are already there instead of being a clone of fashion that actually existed at the time. This is just your daily reminder that historical fashion is a lot more malleable and goopy and gloopy than we think, and it just takes some molding to make the look that you're going for. It takes work, it takes practice, but I think these examples of people who do the mashup really well are a great place to start for inspiration's sake. If there's a post-60s, 70s person who you think does 60s, 70s aesthetics very well that I missed, please tell me about them in the comments. I'm very curious to hear from you always. Always looking for new sources of inspiration, so feel free to shout those out too. Till next time, bye!